Yeah, this is, well, I'm just going to say the name I have to use is Peggy Ann Dempsey. Married to Childers. I was kidnapped. There's more to who I am, Margaret Ann Windsor. So I am kidnapped in 41, brought to Moulton, Alabama. I didn't find out until 83 when I was in a political campaign to replace a doctor, Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald I'd written about in a medical malpractice book, unpublished because they almost killed me. Now, what I wanted to put here, though, and let me add this, I had a letter from the FBI, U.S. Attorney William Harper out of Atlanta, issued by the FBI that's like turning things over to the police, to the district attorney to prosecute or not. And it was turned over to the U.S. Attorney. It was ongoing investigation, national security involved. So they went on. I was almost killed, and I mean more than once. It was horrible. It was stripped of everything. My children and I were separated, and I don't know if they're alive or dead. But when I was out in Mr. Flint's, he helped me in the campaign because Larry McDonald was part of his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia, and I was writing about mind control in shootings and the Tesla files that contained the mind control that was stolen in 1930, how you could create an illness or cure it. So, what I wanted to put here was that I paid a price for being kidnapped and who I am, what they did to my father because he wouldn't join the Illuminati or take orders from them. They took him out with character assassination. He was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, a school teacher, and she was the queen in 1936, and they used a double to do bad behavior. And I mean, they had more than one. But anyway, the imposter married Wallace Simpson, and that's who they still state is my father, Edward VIII, which is a total lie. Winston Churchill burned the Windsor files. That's of my birth in 39. They kidnapped me in 41. And they actually stole my father's identity and my mom's because when they replaced my father, they had to replace my mom. So, anyway, Cosmos Lang was the Archbishop of Canterbury. He was part of it in 36. Very well knew that my dad was married to my mom and never had anything to do with Wallace Warfield Simpson. So my own Uncle George was part of my kidnapping and takedown of my father, and he was part of the Illuminati, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, JFK, the Kennedys. But when I left Mr. Flint's, he furnished me a car for a year, but I couldn't get a job anymore or anything. So when I turned it back in, I was just on the road again on foot, aside the road where you get raped, you get begging, the hot sun, walking out of Gatlinburg, Tennessee, when I'd walked there July the 5th, I believe, of 85. Couldn't have been 85, 86, I guess, just prior to coming here to Roanoke. And my mom and dad were still alive then and married to each other. I walked out of Gatlinburg where somebody told me I could get a job, got there, and the doors were shut. There was a Crown Victoria car pulled in front of the Gatlinburg Police Department where you couldn't get in. They finally let me in and told me they couldn't help me. Well, here I am up there with no money, walked up there because I was told I had a job. And I'm walking back out at 10 o'clock at night on the side of the road. And I got waylaid and thrown and half my hair pulled out. I had a tennis thing around it. And some of it is left a bald spot back there. But anyway, it almost killed me. And I thought it was dark. You couldn't even see the road in front of you to step. And I'm coming back to Knoxville, where I'd started from early that morning. And this is about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night now. And I'm coming back, turning around, coming back, and was waylaid. And I remember he threw me over, this guy did, over his shoulder. And I was screaming, please don't hurt me. And I mentioned Larry Flint's name. And he stopped. And I ended up, because it was dark, anybody could kill me that time of night on a 4-lane going into Gatlinburg. It wasn't as big as it is now. This is back, I told you the time. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked with telling what I really wanted to. I've lived a horrible life. I couldn't get an attorney to represent me. It's so high profiled. And I wrote about the mind control murders, programming, and all that. And Larry Flint was one of them that was shot by program shooters. So was George Wallace, governor of Alabama, and there's a list. But anyway, when I left Mr. Flint's, he said something about, that was in October of 83, to replace Congressman Larry McDonald, who I wrote about and who was one that helped kill Flint. And he says that in the endorsement of Hustler that I put up all the time, that was issued April of 84. Mr. Flint says, I know who was responsible for his shooting, and he mentions Larry McDonald. Well, Congressman Dr. McDonald's plane was shot down by the KAL when it flew from Juneau, Alaska to Seoul, South Korea. And 260 plus people went down. Nixon was taken off the plane just prior to takeoff. And I have to wonder if Larry McDonald was really on the plane, or if they took him somewhere and gave him another name and took the whole plane down. They knew it was going down. But anyway, that was why I was out at Mr. Flint's. But when I left the second time, and he helped me in the campaign, and I didn't win it, Buddy Darden, the district attorney in Cobb County, Marietta, Georgia. And might I say, I believe he's a good man. He deserved to win it. I'm glad he did. But anyway, he won the special election. So I literally, you can't tell, it's so horrible, the things that happen. But my thing is, when I left there, he said something about it. The first time I was out there, I was met by a limo driver and all this, and he paid for my ticket out there. And then when I came back the second time on election day, couldn't find a room. I was pushing him around in a wheelchair, and this is role playing, okay? And couldn't find a room. Finally found a room that his daughter, it was her room. By the time I got to sleep, she came in, and she was very nice about it, though. She said she'd sleep with a friend down the hall. So I had it for a few hours, and I was back in Atlanta. But before I left, Mr. Flint said to me, there's no room in the inn. Well, you can say no room in the end, E-N-D, I-N-N, what does it mean? Well, I've been kept homeless, penniless, had things done to me my whole life that's so inhuman. But I've been kept homeless deliberately, and until I can get an attorney, or people placed under oath under the threat of perjury, I'll die. And I won't have my name back. I won't see my children. That's the reason I put this all up on YouTube and Facebook, like a diary, a record of it. And if my children are alive, and I hope they are, they know what's really going on. Now, I have to ask myself, you'd have to know the crimes they've committed. It's illegal, what they've done to me. First of all, I'm allergic to chemicals. I have an autoimmune disorder. And when I'm force-fed toxic fumes, it makes my immune system shut down. And over time, the inflammation can destroy your every organ in your body, your kidneys, lungs, heart, you name it, liver. So it's slow killing when you can do it and nobody will intervene. I either leave when it gets so bad and go to another place, and same thing happens. And you think I'm making it up. No, I'm not. You have to know the names in it. And the fact that nobody really cares, I've been told that. They'll say, well, you're British, so it's okay that they're doing this to me. And quite frankly, they're afraid of it. But anyway, I have to wonder. I just called a woman. I've done it so many times, been left trying to get a place to stay. and getting hit in the lungs when I do get there with fumes. And toxic. I'm talking about toxic. This gets way out if it's ever told. Horrible. How can you get people to participate? Well, anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering. I wonder if God has a waiting list. Does he do a background check? If he did, would he see beyond what they've done to me here and what they did to my father and see the truth? I suppose him being God, he would. And I wonder if he's going to forgive you all. If he puts you under oath before he lets you into heaven, his home, what's he going to come up with? Think about it. He's not stupid.